Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And if you know Bike Friendly Atlanta, or even if you don't know Bike Friendly Atlanta, go to bikefriendlyatl.org. Check them out, like and subscribe on social media. Also, we want to hear your story on the podcast. So if you have a story to share, go to letsgotennis.com/my story, and you might have your story featured on the Atlanta Tennis Podcast. Today, this is the ultimate guide to getting your kids started playing tennis. Today, we are answering the question, why would we encourage kids to watch the television instead of going outside to play? And in this case, I go against my typical MO. I'm sure Dave's probably the same way, but I haven't actually asked him yet. I will actually encourage kids to watch tennis on television. I know we're big right now on limiting screen time and trying to get the kids outside doing something. But if we've got a rainy day, those days happen. You got things that happen where you have that downtime. And in my household, I know we've got Tennis Channel running all the time. We don't watch a lot of television other than that. It's just kind of on. I like following the tour, and my wife is learning a lot more about how it works. But Dave, I've narrowed it down really to three things from my point of view that I like about what watching tennis on TV does for you or does for your kids. You get to know the players, so you become a fan of the sport. You learn to keep score, which is the most complicated and elegant, I believe, elegant way to keep score in sport that exists anywhere. And at the higher levels, you can learn a bit about strategy. So, Dave, do you agree or disagree?
100% agree. Um, yeah, I mean, it to some degree, uh, it's like the old saying, "A picture's worth 1,000 words." You you have a chance. I've got a lot of my kids now that I teach that I'll be in class and I'll say, "Hey, did anybody see that match in Rome, which is going on right now?" And I just got through drinking my coffee with a warmed up piece of pizza, watching Taylor Fritz and Dimitrov playing in Rome right now in the morning. It might be a little bit of a tape delay. I don't think it is because they're about in the afternoon over there. So it might be a live. I don't think it's a live. I think it was the first one on this morning. But I'm watching tennis like you all the time. And it's a way to help you understand that you don't just get to stand there and watch the ball after you hit it. They're motoring across the court at high rates of speed. Yes, that is so far advanced from most people that play tennis, but it gives you an idea of where you're headed. You might be 1/10, 1/15 of that speed, but that's what you should start looking like. So there's a chance that that motor muscle memory that I'm so big on, who taught you how to walk? Oh, well, really nobody. You watched either mom or dad go across that kitchen floor and you're sitting there on your all fours and they're getting across there in about 4 or 5 steps and you're crawling for 10 minutes and you're like, this ain't getting it. I got to get over there. And then you go get on the couch and you stand up and you don't know what in the world you're doing, but you've seen it a lot because you've watched them. And you walk about 1 step, 2 steps, maybe 3, and you fall, and they go, Shaun, that was awesome. They don't say, Jesus Christ, kid, put your right arm first, your left leg with it. Da, 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 da. They don't go that route. They say, get up and try again. Mm-hmm. And so motor muscle memory is huge. And I have kids now, like I said, that I'll ask them about a match or have you watched any of Rome, tournament this week? What's Rome? And I go, well, it's in Italy, but there's a tournament going on there. And they're like, and so literally it's like trying to teach somebody that doesn't have a vision, an insight as to a remote what I look like, should look like. And so it's like you're the blind leading the blind almost, and pictures are worth 1,000 words. So a video or watching it live has got to be worth a lot.
It absolutely is. And I'll give props to a friend of mine, another Dave. his daughter comes for a tennis lesson, and I say, okay, we're going to play one of our little mini tennis game, and we're going to start keeping score. And we're going to keep score. It's just a little 15, 30, 40 game. 4 points
Right.
wins the game. We'll get to deuce later. You just, as coaches, we simplify those kinds of things, and we don't have the whole court. Just work on one thing at a time if you can. And I said, all right, so how do we keep score? 15. And she goes, 30, 40 game. I went, what? Hang on. How do you already know that? And then I realized Dave is like us. He's got Tennis Channel just running in the house.
Right.
And she already knew. She'd never played a tennis game before, but she was familiar with the concept. She'd seen it over and over and over again. She knew what she was getting herself into. Now, I'm not saying every household should have Tennis Channel running
Right.
24 hours a day. I'm not suggesting all day is healthy. That's not necessarily the right thing. And we're not getting any affiliate relationship with Tennis Channel, but call me.
Right.
So it's so good for the kids. What the kids come out and they know what offsides is in football. They know what a false start is in American football. They know some of these things because the parents all weekend long. They watch college football on Saturdays and pro on Sundays. They watch
Right.
baseball in the evenings. They know what a strikeout is because they watch it, because they see it on television and they get to know it. Their favorite baseball player, and they have that appreciation for the sport, but they also just get the concept. And like you were saying, Dave, they come out and they know what they're getting. I got to run around and go get that ball like Taylor Fritz. And they have that, I don't want to say idol because that's usually a negative type of word, but they have that player in their mind that they're trying to emulate and be like, and say, I want to be like that guy. Dimitrov's a great example. Who did he want to be like when he was growing up? Just look at his serve and his backhand. We know that guy, right?
Yep.
You can see it in some of these young players as to who they're emulating. But then even the kids just understand the strategy of hitting the ball back and forth, where a lot of our first time players, Dave, they come out and they don't even know where the ball is supposed to go, over the net, under the net, in the net, like soccer, around. Am I supposed to whack it over the fence like baseball?
Right.
They just don't get it because they've never seen it.
Absolutely. It's like the blind leading the blind. And for me to have to spit out 1,000 words in a 1 hour lesson or so, it's a lot. And it can be shortened. Your learning curve can be dramatically improved or reduced by putting yourself in there, looking at it. I don't even like playing tennis games, but I do know that Wii Tennis helps you learn to score too. So anything in that result, any way in that line can only help. It can only help your learning curve. And that's half the battle most of the time, is how can I shorten my learning curve?
And that also lowers the cost. It lowers that expensive barrier to entry, parents. Like, and I'll just finish with this because I think we both agree on this, and we don't have to beat the horse, so to speak, because they're going to get to know the players, which creates a lifelong fan of the sport. Which, if you want your kid to appreciate tennis, there's a reason for that. But I will say, give them some screen time on this, and by screen time I mean on television. It doesn't, and for you as well as a parent, you may not know. Oh, I was just hoping to get my kid into tennis. I don't know anything about it. Well, maybe you could. Maybe you could. Maybe you enjoy it as well. So sometimes we see the kids getting into tennis, and then the parents also do. The parents said, I kind of like that. Is there a beginner group or a cardio tennis or some way I can go get myself involved and learn how to hit the ball back and forth with my kid? But I think the main thing for me for a beginner is keeping score. I think the huge thing is difficult for coaches to teach. It takes a lot of time, and at $100 an hour, you could get it done cheaper if you just sit down with your kids and watch a few minutes of TV today.
Absolutely. I think, and back to our last podcast, then you're ready to go out, bat a few balls back and forth with your kid. You know what you should be doing, hitting the ball, not hitting the ball in the middle or hitting it to each other, whatever. And then if you want to keep scoring on it, we call it the game, where we'll just, Shaun will feed the ball to one side and the line will be over there, and there'll be like the challenger side. The one kid's over there is like the server. And so we'll have the server call the score, no matter who, I'm feeding it to the challenger line. So whoever wins the point, the server's going to call it like they're serving, because the server calls the score first. And then it teaches them 15, 30, 40 game. And then, like you said, later on, we'll get into that harder part called deuce. But, it's a hurdle to get over. And so it helps tremendously. It really does.
This has been the ultimate guide to getting your kids started playing tennis, maybe even yourself, but against our typical, we are fitness types, go outside and play. If it's a rainy day, whatever it is, save yourself some money and let your kids learn a little bit extra about tennis on the television. Dave, I appreciate it. We'll see you again next week.
Absolutely. Great.